Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Unit 4 Review number 2. Remember that a calculator is allowed. The directions ask to answer each question carefully, show all your work, and write your final answers on the lines provided. Okay, number 1 says to solve the inequality. To solve the inequality, we want to get the x by itself. To get the x by itself, the first thing we need to do is get rid of the division. To get rid of division, we multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by a. What type of 2 is that? That's correct. It's a -2, and 5 times -2 is -10. Now, that x is all by itself. The only thing that I'm waiting for is to write my inequality. But since I divided by a negative, we have to flip the sign. So we get x is less than -10. All right, number 2. Number 2, I'm just going to rewrite off to the right-hand side. Now, once again, I need to solve for my inequality. So following the rules of SADMAP, we're going to subtract 1 first. And we get -12 is greater than or equal to 3m. To get the m all by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Now, I am not dividing by negatives, so that sign stays the same. Now, the only thing that's wrong with this is anytime we graph, we want our variable first. So I'm going to rewrite this. -4, the inequality is pointing at the m. I'm going to make sure it stays pointing at the m. Okay, so we got m is less than or equal to -4, which is letter what? You better be saying C right now. Okay. All right, so number 3 says to solve and graph the following inequality. Now, before I rewrite it to the right, I'm going to distribute first. So I got 2 times 4x is 8x. 2 times 2 is 4, is less than 28 plus 2x. We have variables on both sides, so the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2x to the other side. 8 minus 2 is 6x, plus 14 is less than 28. So we got to keep working to get the variable by itself. What do we need to do? Okay, hopefully you said subtract 14 because that was the right answer. Okay, so I'm subtracting 14, not 14. How'd that turn to a 14, guys? It's 4, Mr. Grice. Come on. Sorry about that. So we're subtracting 4 to both sides. That's why you have to write nice, guys. Sometimes you can't even read your own handwriting. 24. And then divide both sides by 6. And we get x is less than 4. Okay, so when you're graphing x is less than 4, you're looking for an open circle, starting at 4 and shading to the left. And the only one that meets all of those criteria is D. Okay, we have to graph number 4. You might be like, well, Mr. Grice, I can do it right away. No, you can't because the W is not by itself. To get the W by itself, we have to get rid of that -3, and to get rid of that -3, we need to divide, okay? -6 divided by -3 is 2, W, and -1. And whenever we divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign, okay? And now there's one last thing, guys. It's not in numerical order, okay? So we're going to need to rewrite this. We always want our numbers from least to greatest. Okay, and now the inequality between the w and the -1, it's pointing at -1, and between the 2 and the w, the inequality is pointing at the w. Okay, so we have -1 is less than x, which means it's open at -1 and closed at 2. And the one that is like that is letter B. All right, let's flip it over. So which of the following inequality represents the solution of -22 is less than or equal to 3y minus 4 is less than 26? So let's go ahead and solve. We want to add 4 to all three sides, and we get -18 is less than or equal to 3y, which is less than, we added that 4, 30. To get the w or the y all by itself, I'm going to divide everything by 3. My 3's cancel, and I get -6 is less than w, which is less than 10. Okay, some of you might be like, well, B looks like it. Kind of, but it's got the word or in it, and no. Okay, it's an and graph. So the answer to this is D. Okay, number 6. We've got 2 inequalities that we need to solve, so I'm going to start with the 5m minus 2 is less than 18. We need to add 2 to both sides, and we get 5m is greater than 20. And to get the m all by itself, we divide both sides by 5, and we get m is greater than 4. Okay, so that's part of our answer. Now we have to do the other part. We need to distribute, so we get -3m minus 12 is less than, or is greater than 15, I'm sorry. To get the m all by itself, we have to add both 12 to both sides, and we get -3m is greater than 27. The m is not by itself yet. We have to divide both sides by -3. We're dividing by negative, so that means I have to flip the sign, and we get -9. Okay? Now, the very last thing is we have to put these two together, okay? And they need to be in numerical order. So the -9 is first, so m is less than -9, or m is greater than 4. So m is less than -9, or m is greater than 4 is A. All right, number 7. Which of the following graphs y is less than 3 on the coordinate plane? Good question. So, what do we know about y graphs? If it's just a y, you should know that it is a horizontal line. Okay? So which two are not horizontal lines? C and D. All right, the next thing we need to know is it is a dashed line, which both of those are. They both start at 3. 1, 2, 3, good. 1, 2, 3, good. Well, that's it. And just remember that less than, we shade below. Okay? So which one of those graph shades below the line? That is A, because you can tell there's below, and they didn't shade below on B. Okay? Alrighty, last one. Which inequality represents the graph shown below? Alright, so a couple things we need. We need to know what the slope is, what the y-intercept is, if it's solid or dashed, and above or below. Okay, so let's start with the slope. From one point to the other, we rise. That's something good to know right away, that this graph rises, and it rises 1 over 5. So which one is not a positive slope? Up, B is. So goodbye, B. You're not my answer. Now our starting point, our y-intercept, that is at 0, -2. Okay, all of those have -2, so we're good. Now, the next thing we need to ask ourselves, is this solid or dashed? Well, it's dashed. Can I cross out any of those ones? Yep, we can cross out C because it had a solid line underneath it. And then did we shade above the line or did we shade below? Above, which means it is greater than. And we can get rid of A. So our correct answer is D. Okay guys, well that's it for Algebra 1, Unit 4 review number 2. Next thing guys is the Unit 4 test, so I wish you the best of luck. Come in for extra help if you need it. And as always, thanks for watching.